place where they told you what to chase.
The Pirates of Port Royal. Port Royal, a town located at the mouth of Kingston Harbour, in southeastern Jamaica, was founded in 1494 by Spanish explorers led by Christopher Columbus. It would eventually become the largest and most prosperous city in the Caribbean, functioning as the center of shipping and commerce in the Caribbean Sea by the late half of the 17th century. But Port Royal was completely destroyed by an earthquake and a tsunami on the 7th of June 1692, and this disaster eventually led to the establishment of Kingston, which is now the largest city in Jamaica. Hi there, welcome to the Aaron Darcy Project. I am your host Aaron Darcy. Join me as we travel back in time to look at some of the events that have shaped the history of Guyana and the island nations of the Caribbean. Today we take a look at Jamaica and at the once infamous city of Port Royal. That beautiful island of Jamaica first fell under the gaze of European explorers in 1494 when Christopher Columbus, sailing for the Spanish Empire, landed on its shores. However, permanent settlement was only established when another Spaniard, Juan de Esquivel, returned with a group of settlers in 1509. These new settlers had come in search of valuable resources like gold and silver, but instead, opened new areas inland and began to cultivate and process the sugarcane. Jamaica, along with the French colony of Saint-Domingue, would later become the major source of sugar for Europe and much of the world. Spain maintained control of Jamaica mostly to prevent other countries from gaining access to the island, which had a very well-positioned harbor at its southeastern end. This harbor was strategically situated within the Caribbean trade routes of that time. However, although the Spanish kept control of Jamaica, they weren't the only ones with their eyes on the Caribbean. England saw that Jamaica was strategically located for its access to trade routes, and in 1655, they swooped in and captured Jamaica, forever changing the destiny of Port Royal and of Jamaica itself. The English had seen potential where the Spanish hadn't and began a rapid transformation of this harbor. They built a city and named it Port Royal. They built houses, shops, and warehouses around a formidable fort. Soon just not one, but 5 mighty forts stood guard over the now bustling harbor. For decades, Port Royal thrived. It became the unofficial capital of Jamaica, a vibrant hub where pirates and merchants rubbed shoulders. Taverns overflowed with rum, and tales of buried treasure danced on the salty breezes. This was the age of exploration, and all the great empires were still trying to establish dominance in every corner of the earth. Port Royal became home port to the English and the Dutch navies, and they authorized pirates to attack Spanish treasure ships. Many European nations were reluctant to attack the powerful Spanish fleet directly, and so this was a very convenient way of getting things done. As a port city, Port Royal became notorious for its gaudy displays of wealth and loose morals. The sailors, soldiers and pirates spent their ill-gotten treasures in the many taverns, gambling houses and brothels that catered for them. The town became notorious in folklore as the wickedest city on earth. Port Royal, Jamaica, thrived in the 17th century not on sugar or spices, but on a more volatile commodity, piracy. Nestled on a strategic harbor, the city was a haven for a motley crew of pirates, privateers, and buccaneers, transforming the Caribbean into a playground for these rogues, the true real-life pirates of the time. The town became a pirate republic, and continued to be used as their main base during the 17th century. Pirates from around the world congregated at this Port Royal, coming from as far away as Madagascar. These weren't your Long John Silver type of pirates, but hardened veterans, driven to seek their fortunes and with a thirst for bloody adventure. Some of these pirates, like the infamous Henry Morgan, actually held official commissions as privateers, blurring the lines between sanctioned raiding and outright piracy. They preyed on Spanish ships laden with gold and silver from the New World, amassing immense wealth for themselves and the city. The allure of Port Royal wasn't just its strategic location. The English governors, facing the constant threat of Spanish invasion, saw these pirates as a necessary evil. They offered them a safe harbor, a place to rearm and carouse, turning a blind eye to their plundered goods. This created a symbiotic relationship. Pirates fueled Port Royal's economy, and Port Royal provided pirates with a sanctuary. Life in Port Royal was a whirlwind of debauchery. Taverns overflowed with rum, prostitutes lined the streets, and tales of buried treasure filled the air. Pirates squandered their ill-gotten gains with reckless abandon, indulging in extravagant parties that became legendary. This hedonistic lifestyle attracted a diverse cast of characters: merchants selling black market goods, artisans crafting weapons for the next raid, and women seeking their fortune, or misfortune, among the pirates. There was also a terrible and dark side to this kind of life. Violence was commonplace, and the threat of hanging loomed large. Many pirates died young, succumbing to disease, shipwrecks, or bloody battles. And paradise is rarely permanent. The reign of the Port Royal pirates came to a terrible end in 1692 when the British and Dutch governments officially stopped using the pirates to attack the Spanish treasure fleets. But this did not stop them, and most continued their plundering illegally. On the 7th of June 1692, a devastating earthquake sent a large section of Port Royal crashing into the sea. Thousands perished on that day, and the city never fully recovered its former glory. Changing political winds and a decline in piracy further eroded Port Royal's dominance. This once mighty city never fully recovered, and after the 1692 disaster, Port Royal's commercial role was steadily taken over by another rapidly growing nearby town called Kingston. Today, Port Royal stands as a captivating reminder of a bygone era. The remnants of its past lie submerged, waiting to be explored. Though its power faded, the legend of Port Royal, the pirate haven, lives on. The legacy of the pirates remains a source of fascination in modern times. Today, we remain captivated with tales of their swashbuckling adventures and ultimately, their tragic downfall. Port Royal may be a shadow of its former self, but the stories of the pirates who called it home continue to echo through the pages of Caribbean history. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. We look forward to sharing much more with you in our next episodes. And if you continue to find our stories interesting, please like and share the content, and do consider subscribing to this channel. Goodbye for now.
I grew up in a place where they told you what to chase.